Hey guys, welcome to Down the Aisle Wedding Podcast. Still working on the intro, but that's all good. But today, I have my beautiful wife, Felicity, aka the Fit Injector. This has been a long time coming.
Too kind.
Yeah.
Firstly, congratulations on the podcast and
you.
that you have a name now.
Yes. So our first episode, which was with Kath, who was a really good, awesome wedding photographer, and Kirk, an amazing wedding filmmaker. We were originally the No Name Wedding Podcast because we did our first episode.
Which kind of had a ring to it.
It sounded all right.
It could have worked.
Yeah, but Kirk actually chose that name, so yeah, it's really good.
Love it.
But today, so the second episode, which has been a question I have seen in the wedding forums on Facebook, so I thought it was quite relevant, is brides doing skin prep prior to their big day. Yeah. So I think it goes from brides just trying to get the best out of their skin to brides having full-on breakouts. How do they fix these problems? Maybe some protocols before their big day. Probably don't start the week before the wedding.
What not to do as well.
But my wife, obviously, so she is the owner of the Fit Injector brand, and we have our beautiful clinic here in Bondi Junction. And so how long have you been in the industry for now? 10 years? 15? No.
Just over 10 years.
10 years as a cosmetic nurse and skin.
So 13 years as a registered nurse.
13 years as a registered nurse, 10 years as a cosmetic nurse. And you actually, I think a lot of people kind of think of cosmetic nurses as they only specialize in cosmetic injectables. So like the Botox and with the anti-wrinkles and the dermal fillers. But you actually specialise in skin first from one of the OG cosmetic nurses in Australia 10 years ago. So Fleck, my wife, is a bit of a guru when it comes to clear skin.
So kind. Yeah. Thanks for the intro.
What an intro. So in this episode, we're going to be answering a bunch of common questions that have been submitted via Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah.
And then Felicity's also going to go through 3 case studies that you have actually implemented with brides. To go from not so clear skin to fantastic.
Yeah, so we've got a range of skin concerns and a range of time frames as well. These are brides that I'm actively working with at the moment.
Alrighty, Flick. So this is going to be a bit of a loaded question. So let's rock. When should you start treatments prior to your wedding day?
So I would recommend you book a consultation as soon as possible so we can talk about your skin concerns, what your goals are, and also what the time frame is. Sometimes brides come to me with a huge timeline, and that's great because we can really take it slow. Other brides come to me with a very short time frame, and so I'll implement the crash course, as I like to call it. Also to consider is what types of treatments you do want before your wedding. Let's say you want cosmetic injectable treatments. We have to consider that there is downtime with these procedures. You can expect swelling, bruising. Everyone's a little bit different in terms of the degree of that. Plus, you've got time for these treatments to take effect, such as a wrinkle reduction procedure will take effect within about 1 to 3 days, but you need to wait a full 14 days for that to take effect. Then we need time to make corrections, do any little tweaks, touch-ups, as we get to know if you're a new patient, as we get to know you and your muscles, how it responds, and also how you'd like the result as well. So we need time to make corrections if we need to, tweaks and touch-ups, but we also need time to really let it settle. Let's say you didn't like the treatment. Very rare that you don't like the treatment, but let's say you didn't like it, and you need to give it some time to wear off as well, and maybe we could do it differently the next time. When it comes to our volumization treatments, we also do expect swelling and bruising with those. Like I'm sporting a bruise from 3 weeks ago. I'm a high bruiser, plus I take a lot of Nurofen and aspirin for my recent migraines, but I'm sporting a bruise from 3 weeks ago. If I got married last week, I wouldn't have been happy with this. So as I said, everyone's different, but we need the time to know what your recovery is like. We've got obviously skin treatments. Most of those have minimal downtime, but still some of them you might expect to have some redness, maybe a little bit of swelling. Plus, if they're treatments where we want to stimulate your collagen and elastin, we need at least kind of 6 to 8 weeks to be seeing those results from the treatment. So obviously we'll get into a little bit more about different treatments and timeframes in a moment, but basically I would recommend as soon as you find out you're engaged, book a consultation. It might not mean that you're starting treatment then, but at least it means that you can have a plan. In our clinic, we send them all via email. It'll have a plan and we will give you a step-by-step of exactly what you need to prepare for. We'll take your wedding date and we'll basically work back from that.
Nice. I think that's a really good answer. So from that, I think if you didn't take away anything, take away that time is your ally. So sooner you book in.
Yeah.
No matter how bad or...
Yeah, whether you're doing a really quick wedding, you've only got, let's say a couple of months or a couple of weeks. I've worked with that before as well.
Yep.
Or, I've had brides come to me and they're engaged, but they're not getting married for 18 months, 2 years. We might not start their wedding plan until a lot closer to, but at least we know well in advance. Plus, another thing that just came to my mind to add in here is also the coordination between all your other beauty appointments as well. So we need to take that into consideration, because you can't have, say, a wrinkle reduction treatment and get your eyebrows waxed the next day, because that increases your risks of complications from the wrinkle reduction treatment. So we need things like, okay, you're having your wrinkle reduction, 2 weeks later you're having your brows waxed, then you can go and have your skin needling 2 weeks after that. So everything needs time. So it's not just the treatments that we do in the clinic. You also need to give us an idea of what other things you're going to be doing, whether it's your eyebrows, your lashes, maybe you're getting microblading, whatever it is, so we can also give you a guide of how to plan for those as well.
Wow.
There's a lot to it.
That's a loaded answer for a loaded question. Nice
That's only question one.
All right. So, excuse me, I've got my phone here. Cool beans. All right, Flick. So, question number 2 is, what does a wedding skin plan look like?
So this, again, it does vary on the individual, your skin concerns, your goals, and your time frame. But in general, I would recommend most of our brides and grooms, they want a mixture of skin products, a skincare routine at home, cosmetic injectables, and skin treatments before their wedding. So I would recommend starting on the skincare products ASAP. We can give you a whole list of day and night in terms of using cosmeceutical ranges at home. Injectables, I would definitely recommend you're starting that initially, so start that first. Again, like I said, we've got time for the downtime, time to work out what you like, maybe what you don't like about your treatment. And if anything with my brides, I will go maybe if, their dose, if they're wanting to be, quite smooth with that, we might do a slightly heavier dose well out from the wedding. And if anything, I taper that dose for the wedding day, because I never want brides to kind of look like deers in headlights. Not that we really do that look, but I wouldn't want anyone just to look a little bit too stiff in their photos. If anything, I like that kind of lived in look with the anti-wrinkle, wrinkle reduction. For, just to look a little bit more natural. So smooth, but natural, where they've still got that natural movement. And then, so as I said, tapering that off closer to the day, but really ramping up the skin treatment side of things closer to the day.
Yeah, right. Another loaded answer. Number 2. Thank you, City.
I'll just check.
Have a quick look.
Yep, that's fine. Yep. And I'll just have a look at this. Okay, I'm ready for this one. I might stop and start because I've got some really powerful responses to this one. So I might just kind of stop and start.
All right. Hey, I'm not doing that.
You're being a lot more conscious of it.
Yeah. Alrighty, Flick. So far, amazing answers. Some would think you may have done this before.
Just a couple of times.
By the way, guys, I think I forgot to do in the intro. Flick, you have a podcast, Fit Injector Podcast, which I ironically produce.
Yeah.
Didn't see that coming. But it's awesome. So make sure you do go over there and follow, subscribe, like, and share, and do all those things, and support my beautiful wife. All right. So number 3 is, if my wedding is 2 weeks... In 2 weeks. Sorry, let me start again. If my wedding is in 2 weeks, should I get Botox for the first time? Now, I would like to interject here and just say, are you a risk taker? And what you answer?
Myself or the patient?
Or both.
So, short answer, no. You're getting a skin treatment. If you're coming to me 2 weeks out from your wedding and you want wrinkle reduction, I'm not allowed to say that naughty word, thanks to the TGA, but you can. And you're wanting a wrinkle reduction treatment 2 weeks out from your wedding, Personally, I'm not going to give it to you. As I mentioned before, wrinkle reduction can take up to 14 days for the full effect. And we're going to talk about risk factors here, because imagine waking up on your wedding day with a dropped eyebrow or spocking. Even if I came and topped you up while your makeup artist is putting your makeup on, that top up could take another 14 days to take effect. Now, spocking, we can fix that, but we need an additional 2 weeks for that to settle. Dropped eyebrows, though, with wrinkle reduction, unlike our volumization treatments, we can't dissolve it. We can't take it out. There's no dissolving agent for it. So time, we have to wait for it to wear off. Now, most individuals, this procedure will last around 3 to 4 months. Some people, it can last up to 6 months. So it is temporary. If you do get a brow droop, it's a less than 1% chance, and it's not something that is a regular occurrence. But I would lose sleep thinking that my bride is going to be that 1% if I treated her 2 weeks out from her wedding. So we imagine, that happens. There is absolutely nothing we can do about it, and I'm sure no amount of Photoshop.
I was going to say, there's only so much After Effects I can do. That, I'm good, but I'm not that good.
Yeah. And same comes with if we're injecting the lower face, there is a less than 1% chance that you're going to get a wonky or droopy smile, but also that's not going to look very good on your wedding day either. I actually had someone, they were in our waiting room, they were waiting for someone the other day. Somehow we got talking about these procedures and leading up to weddings, and perfect timing for coming on this podcast. And they said they'd had treatment before. Their wedding was a couple of years ago. They went and got their treatment from a very experienced injector. They think there may have been a miscommunication and they got injected in an area that they didn't necessarily want or need, and their smile was affected. Now, they look back on their wedding photos and they were like, they couldn't actually smile.
Oh, no, I shouldn't laugh.
I know. And again, it doesn't matter, experienced injector or not, whether patients follow the post-care, whether it was injected in the right spot, these are the risks, unfortunately. And I'm not a risk taker when it comes to that, because there's going to be photos everywhere. You're going to have a really upset bride or groom. It's just not a risk I'm willing to take, particularly if you've never had treatment before, because it also comes down to, what if you don't like the results of it? Or, as I always say to first-time patients, getting married or not, it's going to take me some time to get to understand you and your muscles and how they respond, how to get the right product, the right dosing, the right placement, and also whether that patient's going to really like the look or not. When you're having it for the first time, it's really hard to know whether you like a very natural result or whether you like a very smooth result. So we want time for all of these things. Plus, imagine, like I've already pointed out, again, very rare, but look, I had my wrinkle reduction a few days ago, and it's really rare to get a bruise, but I've got a bruise because I'm a bruiser, and that, for me, that could hang around for the next 2 weeks. Obviously, makeup can cover up little ones, but short answer, no.
All right, Cindy, that was an excellent answer. So, ladies, you do not want a dropped brow on your wedding day, because hey, it's only so much After Effects, as I said, and the photographer might be super keen on that.
One more thing to add to that. So just to help people understand when to do it, if you've never had it before, you do want it before your wedding day, try and book an appointment minimum 4 to 6 weeks out from your wedding, preferably longer, but let's say that's the absolute minimum, because remember, we've got 14 days to kick in, another 14 days maximum, up to, for a correction to take effect. So if you give us that 4 to 6 weeks, we've got plenty of time. And we've also got a bit of time for it to really settle in.
Okay, that makes sense. But again, I think time is your ally on this.
Yeah.
So I think getting accustomed to these treatments maybe 12 months prior is probably the best thing. Or if you're a regular consumer of therapeutic amounts of anti-wrinkle, Botox, because I'm allowed to say it.
You're allowed to say it.
It's obviously much less risk.
Exactly. If it's a patient I've treated multiple times and exactly those things, we've got the right product, the right dose, the right placement. I know exactly how they like it. I know that their right brow's stronger than their left and they need a little bit more on that side, or I know that they always need that little tweak at 2 weeks. But we know that and we can plan for that. But a first timer, it's just too risky.
No. Yeah.
So you're getting a facial. You'll still look great.
Oh, goodness. All right, City. Question 4. Now, this question I actually saw recently and I was like, I just don't think there's a whole lot you can do with minimal time. But miracles can happen. So, especially in the Fit Injector Clinic, if you're short on time. What's a good skin treatment to get 1 to 2 weeks out from your wedding day?
Great question. And I get asked this a lot as well. So a great option is we have in our clinic, there's lots of clinics that have different brands of this, but we call it the dermafacial. And it's basically a 4-step medical grade facial device. Now, makeup artists love if you have this one. And I've actually had feedback before from my brides saying, my makeup artist thanks you for recommending this. And I think you said on some of the forums, makeup artists would be commenting and say that, that is a treatment.
They recommend,
whether they recommend.
And that's, I think people know it. Let's just say the brand name Hydrofacial.
Hydrofacial,
which is great. I actually think the dermafacial is better, but could be biased.
Hydrofacial, dermafacial. There's lots of companies that do similar things. Basically, ours is a 4-step. It uses diamond tip microdermabrasion, which lifts off the dead skin cells really gently. It's got the hydro and hydrodermabrasion, which think of it like a vacuum cleaner for the skin. It's pulling off all that congestion, clears out the pores, great for like nose blackheads, any built up congestion, even like build up of like makeup and product on the skin. And then we infuse hyaluronic acid serum into the skin once we've done that deep cleanse, and we do oxygen therapy, which is really calming, soothing, good for the pores. Then you've also had like a triple cleanse, a little hot towel with us before we do that treatment. Then we put a jelly mask on and we put you under the LED. So you're getting like a 6-step treatment. There's no downtime. You can have that I'd recommend about 1 to 2 weeks out from your wedding. Really low risk factors with that one. You can put makeup on, you can go to the gym, all of that afterwards. And it does give just that beautiful base without that build up, without that dead skin, really beautiful base for the makeup artist to then put your makeup on the day.
Excellent. So there is something you can do.
There is.
2 weeks out. Now, in contrast to that question, there was one comment that I saw in particular that I was just like, I think obviously time is your ally and you've left it a bit late, but what is the best course, or maybe actually I'll correct myself here, maybe this is not your fault, maybe you have been doing everything right, but what would happen if a woman was to get maybe a hormonal breakout just before her wedding day, maybe a couple of days out? Is there something that can be done to mitigate how she's going to, the effects of that on her special day?
Yeah, definitely. So unfortunately, we can't control the hormones, but on the surface, and this does come up quite regularly, but on the surface, what we can do to help that bride, if they're, even as you said, a couple of days out from their wedding, and this is happening thanks to female hormones, we can do a couple of things. LED is one of the best things because it's completely non-invasive. So on the surface, our goal would be to reduce some of that inflammation, reduce some of those breakouts, kill off some of that bacteria, and just shorten the lifetime of those lesions. So hopefully in that couple of days or a week, we can really calm everything down just so it's not as angry and not as lumpy under the makeup as well. And also calm the bride's nerves as well. So LED is great because it's a non-invasive treatment. It's the panel of light. You can use blue light, which kills the bacteria, and you've got red, yellow, and infrared, which is really good for healing. They're all antibacterial. They're all going to calm down that inflammation. You can just do those, and you can do up to 20 minutes of snoozing, and you can actually do that every second day. So if they were having a breakout, let's say the week before, they could literally come to us every second day and do a combination of those lights to just calm everything down. We could also, if they'd had them before, I could do just a really light chemical peel, or I could even spot treat that. I could maybe do some extractions. We do them in a way that's not going to cause any scarring or any extra trauma to the skin. And we could do something like a mini facial as well, just to clear a little bit of that congestion. So there's definitely things you can do, but one of the best ones would be to do a couple of LEDs literally every second day leading up to the wedding.
Now, I can really... just what you said there on getting LEDs and helping to reduce the inflammation of the skin, I found recently, since I've started doing courses of LEDs, because I play, I suppose, contact sport. Those of you who know. And I come back from that very red and very inflamed. And since you literally had to drag me under the LED the first time, but I've actually been getting them multiple times a week now, even for a torn ligament in my foot as well, which I think that's why this thing healed so quick and I was able to get back to my sport. But I did notice getting them, even after my first LED, after training, that I would come home, I look like I'd have rosacea, just inflamed. I've got little micro cuts all over my face, and I look like a tomato. And that,
you do.
that LED after 20 minutes instantaneously will just calm it. And then after a couple of days, I actually find if I just keep doing the LEDs, and obviously I'm training 4 to 5 times a week as well, and then if I'm doing those LEDs 2 to 3 times a week, the redness is significantly, I'd say at least 50% less.
Yeah.
Where I do notice if I don't do the LEDs, I literally look like a tomato that's been hit a few times.
Yeah,
So,
totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like LED can be a little bit underrated, but it is, it's a medical grade treatment. It is so powerful. And I just love that when there is such inflammation and anything else would actually flare your skin up, that's the best thing to calm that down.
Yeah, I agree.
And you do see the benefits basically straight away. And then over the next 12 to 24 hours is when you see the peak in that.
Yeah, totally. And another thing with LED, again, I was blown away. I didn't even know that LED therapy, red light therapy, was used in sports rehabilitation. So I thought that was great. Hey, if it can heal your ligaments, it's I'm sure it can heal your face, right? So
yeah, totally.
Alrighty, Flick. So far, I think there's been really good questions, really good answers. So the last question that I have for you is when to start a skincare routine.
So again, like the skin treatments and the cosmetic injectables, best to book a consultation and say in our clinic, we combine our treatment plans all with our products. We have a cosmeceutical range of products that we have specifically created and we can tell you all the things that would be best for your skin. And that's one of the number one things that you can be doing straight away to be helping your skin because, the treatments are great, but there's no point having all these treatments and going home and putting on something that's going to be counterproductive, products that aren't working for your skin. It's kind of like seeing a PT 5 days a week, but eating McDonald's 3 times a day. You're just not going to see the full benefit. So definitely starting on that as soon as possible and make sure you get the advice on the right active ingredients and all the right products that would be suited to your skin and your skin concerns.
Okay, awesome. That is a really awesome answer. And I was just thinking I had one on that. Now, just to add to that answer there, Flick, for those who don't know, and I was actually surprised just chatting to a few people recently, or maybe the women know, but maybe some of the men who are listening to this may not know. Not being sexist at all, but hey.
Because we get grooms coming through as well.
Yeah, right. And I think women probably know more about skincare than men, I think. Maybe that's just my opinion. But would you say that not all skincare is created equal? So
no, unfortunately.
So like back in the day, if I didn't know you, I would just pop into say Chemist Warehouse and go get some Nivea, whatever, cream, some face wash or some Clearasil or something.
3-in-1 body wash, shampoo, totally, face wash.
Yeah, say knives. But no, so would you suggest to stay in the realm of a cosmeceutical range? And obviously I had something to do with it, but you created a range.
You let me spend the money.
Yeah. Oh, what, mate? I'm the kept husband. But you created a range with a pharma company that, actually, nah, leave that out. That's silly. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Most people know what fucking active skincare is, right? I was trying to build some hype around it, but nah, don't worry about it.
No, I think we were on the right track.
Okay, let me start again then. So, Flick, just to add to that, for those who may not know, not all skincare is created equal. And this is only something because just chatting to a few guys recently, and I think this is probably more to the males and maybe the grooms.
Yes,
hopefully,
we do get grooms in.
So, on that, not all skincare is created equal. Would you suggest to, obviously we have a a cosmeceutical range of skincare, but we're not saying, hey, buy ours, but we're saying that's what you need to be using. Like, you don't want to go and get your Nivea wash or something and you need your moisturizer and think that's proper
face,
skincare.
body, hair, yeah.
So you need to be using active ingredients, I think is the key word.
Yeah,
here, so.
yeah. So cosmeceuticals use active ingredients that are formulated in a way that can actually deliver it into the skin. So there's so many products out there. I know it's an absolute minefield for consumers, but one key takeaway just to remember is that all these products out there, a lot of them can claim that they've got, this really high percentage of, let's say, vitamin C or vitamin A or something like that. But if it's not formulated in a way that can actually deliver it into your skin, it's going to sit on the skin. And then you're going to write off vitamin C or vitamin A and you're going to go, my skin reacts to that. Because if it's sitting on the surface, you're going to get irritation, you're going to get dermatitis, eczema, you're going to have all these issues and it's not going to do anything for you. So cosmeceuticals, as I said, have been formulated in a way that delivers it into the skin. So it's going to work on that cellular level where we need it to be working. You'll have a high compliance rate, a low irritation rate. You'll be able to use these products every single day. So that's on the actives. And then when it comes to, cleansers and moisturizers and sunscreens, so many people think, particularly with cleansers, why would I invest in a good cleanser if I'm just putting it on and I'm washing it off? Cleansers is the number one issue with 99% of people who have a barrier dysfunction in their skin. So basically the barrier is impaired. Usually it's coming from the cleanser because a lot of cleansers have things in there that should be cleaning cars and trucks, not cleaning our skin, which is breaking down that barrier. Then you're putting your high dose actives on there that shouldn't be, that are way too strong for your skin.
It's inflaming.
And you've got this total cocktail of just inflammation, irritated skin, and then people kind of write all these products off. And it can be sort of hard to then get those patients trusting to use active ingredients again. So your cleansers and your moisturizers and your sunscreens are so important for your barrier. And then your actives are what are actually going to treat your skin concerns. So your acne, your rosacea, your dryness, your inflammation, all of those things. So seeing a professional and getting professional advice about your skincare is the number one thing that you could do to really enhance those results and make sure that you're getting the best out of your skin treatments as well.
AKA the Fit Injector. And it just so happens that we have perfect product placement. This was a fluke.
We actually didn't plan that.
On the back wall there. But yeah, maybe you want to give a bit of information on your skincare and what you have. The Fit 5 is essentially what we use.
Yeah, so we write our treatment plan. So you'll have your injectables there, you'll have your treatments there, you'll have time frames, how many treatments to do, all of that. Plus you'll have a skincare prescription. So we call it our Fit 5. So that is a cleanser, a moisturizer, a sunscreen, and 2 active serums, one for the morning, one for the night. We don't like to overcomplicate things here. I don't have time to put on 12 steps every day. Who has time for that? So we simplify it to 5 products. So using 3 in the morning, you're using a serum and a sunscreen, and some people will need an additional moisturizer. And in the evening, you're using a cleanser, serum, and moisturizer. So your moisturizer will double up and your sunscreen can also double up as well.
Awesome. I'll leave a link below in the description if you want to cruise over there and support my wife, which supports me.
And you can always reach out if you've got questions about any of the things that we've talked about, the products, the skincare, the cosmetic treatments.
All righty, City. So they're all of our questions. I think you answered those really well.
They were really fun.
Yeah,
Thanks.
good fun. Now, on to our case studies. So you were saying before at the start that you're going to take us through 3 case studies, one a couple of weeks in, one a few months in, and then one doing the whole year prep. Is that right?
Sort of.
I kind of butchered that. Anyway, so what are we doing?
So I've got bride A, bride B, and bride C. So I'll give you a little bit of an overview. One of these brides has recently got married and the other 2 are soon to get married, one at the end of the year and one next year. So bride A had been a patient of mine for 4 years before she got engaged. We sat down and talked about her wedding plan 18 months out from her wedding. Now, the difference with this to, say, a new patient coming to me is that this patient had tried almost all of our treatments before we started the wedding plan. So it was really a collaboration of what she knew she wanted, she knew she liked the most. She literally gave me her list and was like, this is my date, this is what I want. Can you put this into a plan? So that was really fun. She knew what kind of downtime she had post her injectable procedures as well. And so we were able to really make a plan that was kind of like I've been talking about, injectables first, skin closer to the wedding. And so what we did in particular for her was we did all of her injectables, in that kind of 12 months out. And then we did skin tightening and facials closer to the wedding and just a little touch up of that wrinkle reduction closer to the day. Now, bride B is a new patient. Now, she came to me 7 months out from her wedding, completely new to injectables and skin treatments. Her goals were or are preventing upper face lines and opening up around her eyes when smiling, which is a great one thinking about those wedding photos because she felt like when she smiles, her eyes close a lot. Side profile balancing, under eye hollowing and darkness, and potential acne scarring treatments. So I advise that we started with the wrinkle reduction treatment first. We actually did that at the consultation to determine how she responds to it and if there's anything about it that she didn't like, and then we would repeat it again closer to, but I'll probably do less of a dose closer to as well for that lived-in really supernatural look. I recommended volumization treatments for the profile, which we will do once that anti-wrinkle has taken effect. That's the next step. So we're still a long way out from the wedding. Then we're going to do platelet-rich plasma and skin needling for the under eyes and the acne scarring. And then I've recommended some chemical peels closer to the wedding with the LEDs that we've talked about. And of course, a skincare routine starting from now. So that's a 7-month out plan. Now, bride C, also an existing patient, had a bit of time away from the clinic having babies, came back to our clinic once she had 5 minutes to herself after having babies, and mentioned that she was getting married 4 months from when I last saw her. So she had also had a lot of our treatments before. She was very well versed in what she wanted, and also what her recovery time is like. So we have already done full face anti-wrinkle and also jawline slimming, which is also great for clenching and grinding, but really great for slimming that face if that's what a patient wants. And then we're going to do some volumization treatments to the lips and around the mouth. And then what I recommended for skin treatments was the following month, skin needling. Next month, IPL or Transcend BBR, great for pigment and redness, and skin needling is really good for texture, pores and scarring. And then the month before the wedding was a chemical peel with an LED, and also any touch-ups to that wrinkle reduction if we need it. So that was kind of our little bit of a crash course, where a lot of those treatments were actually 2 weeks apart to make sure that we could get all those in, because we only had 4 months.
Wow, so that sounds like a lot of organisation from your end.
Yes, I do have to sit down and spend a lot of time on these, and I do consult my team as well. And I say, what do you guys think of this? And we all sort of work together to make it make sense.
Totally. And, you know, onto that, it does make a lot of sense, because this is the most important day, one of the most important days of your life. Most people will only do it once, but if you don't get your skincare right, you may have a second chance. It's a bad joke. Such a dad joke. But no, it sounds really complex. But I think out of all that, time is your ally, and you can, find things that do and don't work, and try different things. And
yeah, and hopefully this, really helps to give some clarity. But also, I should mention this, obviously these plans are for people that want to do a lot of things before their wedding as well. So not to put anyone off, if you maybe just want, let's say a little bit of wrinkle reduction and a skin treatment, we can totally work with that, especially if you don't really have any skin concerns. You just want a little bit of a glow up. We can do that in a couple of treatments. So these case studies were to really show you that kind of in-depth behind the scenes of what we do when we've got the time, and we have people that want to do a lot of things, and we've got people with skin concerns.
Alrighty, City. Flick, sorry.
No one knows me as City.
I know, so I call Flick City at home. Felicity, thank you very much for coming on to the Down the Aisle Wedding podcast with your expertise and knowledge in all things skin, anti-wrinkle, Botox, TJA, come after me.
Naughty word.
Dermal fillers. No, it's been really good to have you on here. And again, I think, thinking outside the box a little bit, like skin prep is very important. And I didn't realize the importance of this until I've been, really deep into these wedding forums and being so involved in the wedding communities now, since I've made the step over into wedding filmmaking. And it's a hot topic.
It is.
I see multiple questions every week, mainly brides freaking out because they've left it too long, but it doesn't have to be like that.
No, absolutely. As I've said this whole time, we can work with different timelines, different goals, and, for most people, this is the biggest day of their life. So, of course, you want to look your best, and it is such a great goal to work towards.
Totally. And look, me as a wedding vendor, I want the bride and the groom to look their best.
Yeah.
And
also feel good about yourself, right?
Totally.
If your skin looks good, you feel good.
100%. So, Flick, where can people find you if they want to listen to your podcast, your YouTube channel, your touch base on Instagram? Where's your shop located? Let's roll all of them up.
Wait, there's so many things I've forgotten. So our clinic is located in Bondi Junction. We are on Oxford Street. You can find our Instagrams. We've got the Fit Injector, which is my personal one, and the Fit Injector Clinic, which is the clinic page. We're also on TikTok, YouTube, Spotify, Apple for our podcast.
I think we're on Rumble now too.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. You just
She doesn't
signed
even
me
know.
up to things. But thank you so much for sitting down and suggesting we do this chat. It was really fun, and I really hope that I can help some others out there who are planning for their big days.
Excellent. Thanks for coming on board, City. All right, guys, that's it for today. Flick, thank you very much for coming on to Down the Aisle Wedding Podcast for our
you.
second episode. Guys, make sure you are following along on Instagram, Spotify, and YouTube. We have plenty more episodes coming out. And until the next episode, see you later.
Bye.
Bye. Done.
Done.
Easy peasy.
Was my wrap up okay?
Yeah, yours is good.